Yeah, we ready, we ready. This is for the Warriors. Blood on the mat, sweat on my skin. I've been fighting for a win, don't need no gimmick. When the lights go down and the crowd starts to roar, I'm coming for the belt, man, I'm coming for more. The struggle's real, but the hustle's heavy. This ain't a game, it's a fight for the ready. We fight through the noise, breaking down walls. Every time we fall, we rise, stand tall. They talking, they hating, but we keep moving. Ain't no stopping the crowd, we choose it. Through the blood, through the pain, we living for the glory. Through the hurt and the shame, we fight through the noise, can't hear a thing. We making our moves, we own everything. Wrestling through pain, breaking all chains. This is our world, and we taking the reins. Rise up from the ashes, rise from the dirt, from the blood, the rain to the final hurt. We fight through the noise, we won't be ignored. This is our story, we're taking the floor. Through the ropes, through the crowd, we don't quit. Ain't no fear when you're fighting with grit. Body slam, then we stand, take the blow. A real champ knows when it's time to grow. Tearing up the ring, tear up the doubt.
Oh, shit, son. Yeah, that's freaking amazing. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the OGs. We are the people who go, oh, geez, we're back on the air again. Yeah. I'm one of your hosts. Today, in honor of Mr. Derringer, I will be hoochie cooing. Not rock and rolling, but just hoochie cooing. Mr. Joe V to my left, and of course, the man, the myth, the legend, the greatness himself, Mr. Mike Jones. Well, by the way, is responsible for that music. That's an awesome song, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely awesome song. So, what's been going on with you guys in the past week since we debuted here? Any fun? Any enjoyment? Anything interesting?
Been kind of quiet on my end, honestly.
I've been just enjoying the week, man.
Yeah.
Excited to talk some more wrestling.
That's right. I continue to be Anthrax, but that's okay. I'm fine with that. Well, let's get right into it, shall we? WrestleMania's moved. And a move nobody saw coming. Your thoughts?
I hate to say this, but this will never happen under Vince.
True.
You're not going to announce and then not have a backup plan immediately announced, at least in the same vicinity.
I just it's and the rumor now is what, Vegas. They're going back to Vegas. Mm-hmm. Thinking after all the complaints, after all everybody bitched and moaned, sometimes rightfully so, about how it was handled this year with the money and how much things cost and all the issues and stuff, you're going to go right back there again.
We need Basil DeVito back.
Yeah, actually. That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
I know a few of my friends have already said they're not going to Mania now because they had already made plans to go to New Orleans. Now it's just like, I'm not going to Vegas.
Wow.
I really can't blame them.
You know what's crazy about this is it'll be the first time since WrestleMania 4 and 5 where they went back to back at a venue. But I will say I'm kind of surprised, but I'm kind of not. Because under TKO, UFC is the home of Vegas. So TKO is basically Vegas as well. So they're going to make WWE Vegas as well. May not like it. I'm just saying.
What, they going to do, reuse the set now? Since I don't have to do anything?
You never know. Hey, they should build it in the parking lot like they did WrestleMania 9.
I'm actually for that, yes. I mean, they won't get the numbers they want, obviously, of the 80, 90,000 people, but still, that would be amazing. To me, it just feels like a money play. I mean, they basically came out and said that, that they got such a huge reaction and such a huge payday from WrestleMania in Vegas this year. Like, hey, we're going to do it again. Screw you, New Orleans. We don't give a shit about you. We're going to go back to Vegas.
remember how like Madison Square Garden was like basically like the hub for WrestleMania. WrestleMania 1, 10, 20. Kind of feels like Vegas is going to take over that a little bit.
Yeah, but Vegas does have the charm though of Madison Square Garden. I mean, that was, you know, it had that vibe to it.
And I wonder if they will ever go back to Madison Square Garden for WrestleMania.
It's too small.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, probably not, because they want bigger, bigger, bigger.
Only way you can do it is if you do a multiple venue WrestleMania.
It's gonna be tough to pull off again.
Please, after the first time they did,
Yeah.
I don't want to see that abomination again.
I wouldn't be surprised if it came soon.
Literally, my worst. I've considered it still to be the worst WrestleMania in history. Mania 2. I know I'm alone in this. A lot of people don't agree with me, but I just say to you, watch the actual show
Mhm.
and just tell me how that was so great.
I got 2, 11, and 36 up there. Funny thing about 2 is people forget Terry Funk was on that show.
And you know what? He had the best match of the night, I think, really. Yeah, it was him and his brother against Tito Santana and JYD. One of the best matches and one of the longest matches in the night. When you have you can count them. Some of these matches were under 2 minutes. Most of the matches were under 2 minutes. I mean, what the hell is that? Nothing. I'll never forget for as long as I live. Kathy Lee Crosby, of course, is a scholar in wrestling. You know, watching the Fabulous Moolah versus I believe it was Velvet McIntyre match in the Chicago portion. The match lasted 1:12 seconds. And she just talked about how great it was. And it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, what's unbelievable? People paid to see this. I mean, you know, it was, I mean, oh my God. But for me, it's 2, 11, 27 was pretty garbage, I think, too. And I actually didn't like 15, believe it or not.
Ooh, okay.
I just, you know, I always look at 15 is the only WrestleMania I fell asleep during. I'm not joking. I sat there and I fell asleep. Yeah.
Wow.
And then when I watched the matches back, I'm like, if you watch it, it's like the Vince Russo WrestleMania. You can see his booking, his hands all over it. Everything is overbooked. Every single match is overbooked to the most.
If you watch the free for all, like Michael Cole spoiled the main event.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Buy merchandise from the new WWF champion. Oh, well, I wonder what that means. And if you notice that after he said that, they took him out and put JR in. So, yeah, as a punishment. That was a big screw up. But yeah, I never liked 15. I don't know. But what do you guys think, too, as well, about the idea that not only will it be going back to potentially Vegas next year, but Vegas will be a pretty regular spot now, they're saying, for WrestleMania. Consistently, it will be in Las Vegas.
I think it kills the vibe of WrestleMania. WrestleMania was a touring show. It has a grand feel. Vegas is going to be burnt out. To me, it's already burnt out now, but if you do it a back-to-back, the feeling of Vegas is going to be burnt out already.
I agree. I mean, I just think they're going the UFC route. I mean,
But I'll interject this. Perhaps we finally get an actual physical Hall of Fame on the Vegas Strip.
dude, that'd be nice.
That would make it worthwhile, at least a visit.
I mean, I don't know what the hell they're waiting for, but there's something I'm thinking, if that's going to be your home base, plenty of room there. You know, you want to get people in, make it a tourist destination. I'm thinking it might be time.
Yeah, and like, I see like stuff like online rumor innuendo. If I want to bring my Bruce Pritchard, voice in, people are saying like, well, Vince McMahon's gonna try to buy back WWE from TKO. TKO may be looking to sell it in the future. I don't think TKO will sell WWE. They look at it making money, and they love making money.
Hand over fist. I mean,
Yeah.
it makes no sense to sell it back. When you're generating a ton of revenue, they're generating the most revenue they ever did in the company's history at this point. That part is probably because each ticket is $5,000, but but still, it's still money.
I don't think he can afford to buy it back.
No. But like, I don't even think TKO will sell it in the future. I mean, it's been like 5 years since Ari and them bought UFC, and it's flourished under them. And it's like, just think what they're gonna do with WWE. I mean, it's still too early, but I mean the trajectory is it's pretty good for right now. Even though some people don't like the product right now, little stale people think, and some think another company is catching up, but
It's a completely different product.
I know.
AEW is finally leaning back on what it was known for, being alternative. I have no problem with what they're doing right now. It's actually kind of entertaining for the most part. I question booking on every wrestling promotion I see.
But
So
when I see if you see stuff about AEW and somebody comments, they're like, "Oh, you're a WWE fan." It's like WCW and WWE back and forth. Like, let me tell you this story. So I was 12. It was the night Goldberg beat Hogan for the title. All right. I'm living in Charlotte, North Carolina at the time. All right. Staying over my buddy's house. Goldberg pins Hogan for the 1, 2, 3, raises the belt. I change it to Raw. But his dad's like, "What are you doing? Go back." I'm like, "It's over." Like, damn, y'all don't like WWE? Is it only WCW down here?
and that the Southern people prefer WCW because it was more wrestling.
Yeah. I just found that crazy.
I was never really a WCW guy. I gotta say it. I was a WWF diehard because I grew up in the Northeast, so that's what we got. I didn't watch my first live WCW programming until 1991. No joke. So we didn't have TNT or TBS here till then.
That was a good era to jump in, though.
It was. I mean, I kind of fell in love. I loved Luger as the world champion. I loved Rick Rude as the U.S. champion. Then you had Steamboat come back in, Dustin Rhodes, all those guys. I mean, there was the abomination of PN News, but just try to get past that. Our missing co-host Carmine, that was his favorite WCW wrestlers, PN News. I'm not even joking. And I'm like, I don't understand how you obviously need help, man. Because if that's your...
That gimmick was pandering at its best.
I mean, who thought up that? I mean, who the hell thought that up?
I probably know exactly what happened. They said, "Oh, you got Chub Rock as a rapper. You got Heavy D as a rapper. Let's make this guy a rapping wrestler."
I mean,
James.
Well, think
you also had Big Josh come out with a bear.
That made more sense, though.
Yeah. But
like, PN News technically walked so John Cena could run. So we kind of had to have him.
Oh, that was the evolution.
wow.
Oh my god. I'll tell you that. Excuse me. I gotta catch my breath here. Oh, you're making me die here. I will say this though: if you want to see prime 1991 WCW, I recommend. I believe it was it the first Super Brawl with the debut of Oz. And
was that Super Brawl? Was that
was it Halloween Havoc?
Champions, or I think it was a Clash of the Champions.
Or what was it? No, I'm pretty sure it was a pay-per-view because I remember watching it. But no, it wasn't Halloween Havoc because he was already there. Because I remember he also wrestled at Great American Bash, the infamous Great American Bash, where Flair did, wasn't.
That's right, because at Halloween Havoc he lost to the Strong Man, the one dude. I forget his name.
Bill Kazmaier?
Yes.
But I'll find out for sure. I'll definitely find out while we're on here. But definitely, whatever event it is, watch it because it's the most insane thing you've ever seen in your life, and it kind of tells you exactly how effed up WCW was at that time. It's not. First of all, they didn't even bother making like an actual set for the castle. It's just it's one of those curtains that are just painted, like like airbrushed. And then my personal favorite is
You're
that
right. It was Super Bro. I just
was it
looked it up.
okay. Then you have B grade actors, maybe C grade actors. It's Dorothy, the Tin Man, the Lion, and the Scarecrow. And then when Oz comes out, for whatever particular reason, Kevin Sullivan as the wizard has a monkey that he's holding that tries to literally commit suicide right on air because it jumps off his shoulder right in between the space between the ramp and the stage to try to like kill itself. So I mean, it's something to see, and I'm like, oh wait, why am I watching this? I don't know.
His entrance took longer than the match.
It did, yeah. Hey, good evening.
I'll give you one. So my introduction to WCW was Wrestle War 91. I had it on VHS. My dad recorded it. So I'd watch it a lot. Dude. As a little kid watching Paulie Dangerously come out with a sombrero and a cape, or he's about to interview Giant Gonzalez, and he's doing the like, Ole, with Giant Gonzalez. I'm like, oh man, this is like and then like Eligate is trying to like look up the cape, and Paulie's like, don't be doing that. I know you people like to do that back there. I'm like, oh man, like classic Paul Dangerously.
Well, I will say this. I did see like some of it before 1991 because fortunately my Blockbuster Video here had a great wrestling videotape collection. So I was able to see some of the the old pay-per-views from the 80s and stuff like that. But yeah, live I came in both it was the best of times and the worst of times, just to put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I've been dying to ask Mr. Jones how he feels about having an NXT wrestler as the TNA World Heavyweight Champion.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not upset about it after having had conversations with a couple people. Initially, I was like, okay, what are we doing? Because are we going back to the same kind of situation like when AEW wrestler became the Impact champion at the time? But this makes more sense in the logic of this. Trick Williams is your new TNA champion. TNA is pushing Mike Santana to the moon. If Mike Santana beats a WWE guy, he gets more credibility, even if it's just an NXT guy. But it's still somebody who's hired by the WWE, so now it looks bigger when he wins the belt. And I'm all for it. I honestly would have said this has been a spot, plug in AJ Styles, let AJ Styles drop the belt to Mike Santana.
I was just going to ask that, like AJ as TNA World Champion right now, like a little nostalgia.
Plus, if he held this, I would cry.
So you actually watched the whole pay-per-view, correct?
Yes, I watched all 4 pay-per-views this week. Well, the 3 pay-per-views and Saturday Night's main event.
So overall, your impressions of the TNA pay-per-view? Actually, all of them. Let's hear because you watched more than we did. Let's be honest.
Well, I had a lot of alcohol and time this weekend, so.
Well,
TNA,
you need that for anything.
TNA was like, their pay-per-views are always good to me. I'm a little biased. It's good for your pure wrestling fans, but there's some. The last pay-per-view before this had that brutal bloody match, and then a couple weeks later they had a brutal bloody match on regular Impact TV. So it was just crazy. So that match was crazy. So TNA overall was a good show. It's one of their filler events. It's not like a pay-per-view. It's just like a PLE for, I guess, not a PLE, just like it's a tie-over event. So it's usually a story builder. Best match of the night for me for that would have been. Let me just go back and double check. Probably the Nimitz versus Matt Hardy and Leon Slater for me, because I'm a big tag team guy, and also I'm a Ziggler Nimitz mark, so bias, sue me. But it was overall was a good show. It came on Friday while SmackDown was on, so I actually watched that over SmackDown. Because it was actually no, I had that on and Smack. I was busy that night. I was watching that. I watched SmackDown. I watched TNA, and I watched the NBA playoffs all at the same time. So I'm surprised my brain didn't get fried, but it was fun.
Wow.
The wrestling. Plus, it was good to see just TNA getting some spotlight. You got to see some tension between Trick and Joe Hendry again before the title match Sunday. I'm still kind of made me feel bad because Kazarian technically could have been in this spot as well, because he's basically a TNA original almost in my eyes, and he's never been world champion anywhere. I think it's long overdue for him to at least get even a run where he wins it at the pay-per-view or whatever and loses it as the next taping. It's just sometimes you just need to give somebody that rub.
Oh, what's your... Hello, sir. How are you?
Yeah,
Elijah deserves the rub.
He got to see the tapings after the event.
Yeah, he was
Live.
live. He was there. Yeah, he was there live. Now, if it was AEW, I'd ask him if he even had to pay for the ticket, but I'm sure he had to pay for the TNA one. You know what? Why? Let's just honestly, let's have an honest discussion here. Why do we hate AEW? Tell me. I just think I had to make a comment about them, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I really don't like AEW. I used to like AEW. I used to like AEW for the first year and a half, maybe even 2 years. But then after that, I'm like, this sucks. I don't want to watch this no more. And apparently, everybody hates AEW. I was just wondering why. What you guys' thoughts are?
At one point, I was a hater. I'm no longer a hater. I do like the fact that the owner has finally stepped back from being on TV as much. Him becoming a character was becoming a detriment to the program itself. Again, I still question some of the bookings. Some people are booked stronger than others when I think others should be there, but again, I'm just a fan. I'm not a booker, man. But the action has gotten better because they've gotten back to what they were known for, as opposed to being, oh, let's do these stupid run-ins every 5 seconds. Let's be WWE light. Because you were doing things that WWE wasn't do. Plus, you had the owner doing things saying, oh, I never hold anybody hostage. I won't release them if they say they wanted to leave. And then you do the exact opposite. So that's part of the reason the hate started coming in. You had the hottest wrestler in the planet in MJF, and you made him stale. I don't know how. All you had to do was give him a microphone. But
I was a fan of AEW. Like, I thought they were putting on better pay-per-views than WWE when they first started out. But I think when they lost Cody, they lost their heart. And then when the thing happened with Punk, I'm like, oh, man. Like, And then, like, for me, it was just tough to watch every week. Because it was the same stuff. And I'm like, man, this is just getting old. Like, I do not want to see Mercedes Moné on my TV. I'm sorry. Like, oh. And then I see the Death Riders. I'm like, come on, man. Like it's, and then some of the spots. Now, WWE has its faults too. But AEW, they have some spots with some wrestlers where I'm like, ugh. Like, you can make a Botchamania on one show. Like, but, I mean, this past weekend, the pay-per-view, especially the Hangman and Ospreay match, they're calling it the match of the year, possibly. could be. It's funny because both men wanted each other to win.
Yeah, I thought that was very commendable in my eyes.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to argue, but even though we're almost halfway through the year, that is one of the best matches I've seen this year thus far. Honestly, though.
AEW lost me when I watched Chris Jericho get thrown off the top of a cage and land through supposed metal on the floor.
Cardboard. Yeah.
And it all crumbles. And I'm like, oh my God, you don't even have anybody like running this production department, the directing with the cameras. I'm like, that's the shot you don't show on TV because you don't want people to know that he landed on a freaking mat and you show it. And I was like, oh my God, that was the turning point truly for me. I think I was an AEW mark at the beginning. I really was. I remember watching the show every week. I loved when Jericho was Le Champion and, you know, all his stuff and everything. And it just, but you made a good point when Cody Rhodes left. Like it was a definite shift. I would say even during the pandemic of the two, WWE and AEW, I think AEW was putting out a better product. But it just, yeah. And when Tony Khan got rid of the Bucks and Hangman and of course Cody and everybody else as the bookers and took the booking upon himself. Oh, jeez, my God, you know. And then I saw, like, what was it last year, maybe the last 2 years, he had the flirtation for a bit where he decided he wanted to be CZW. And every match somebody had to bleed or have something stuck in their face, you know, hanging out and stuff. I'm like, well, you know, what is this? I mean, it seemed like a company without an identity. Really, it was just throwing whatever the hell was there at the wall and seeing what stuck. But I've never understood why, when somebody has a big program with another, like between two wrestlers, one, if not both of those wrestlers, will then be taken off TV for a long period of time, and you won't see them again for months and months and months. Sometimes even over a year before they come back. Like you can't book other storylines for these people. You can't book other programs for them. Oh, he went for the world championship. He lost. Okay, well now he's off TV for the next 8 months. Like,
I agree. And like, even with what was it? Miro was a great TNT champion. Loses it and then he's off TV. Like Miro had a great run when he was there, and then they took him off TV, and then.
This was amazing too. Remember this?
Oh yes.
And then they tried to say I was on purpose. if that was on purpose, that was. I mean, so many freaking mistakes. So many.
Look like sparklers coming up. Like.
Yeah, I never forget that. And we're like, that was the exploding death match. I mean, the kids outside with fireworks on the 4th of July are more dangerous than that.
Exploding match is better in the video game than it was on TV.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. I now despise AEW. I didn't start out that way. It was just something I was thinking about because so many other people do. I've seen so many people who say they hate it, and then, but I was thinking, why? Why do we actually hate it? Nobody ever really explains. They just hate it. That makes all sense in the world when you think about it. It just sucks.
I went to the Dynamite when Punk lost the title to Moxley before the pay-per-view. It was my first AEW show, and I'm like, man, this is not a kid's show like to be at. This is like for like teens and adults. Because even at commercial break, Justin Roberts would keep you entertained.
Oh, okay.
And it was amazing. I was like, man, the show flowed amazingly. And I'm like, man, this is like Attitude Era like type of show. It was and that was like the first time I saw Ospreay live, and I was like, oh my.
I think that was it. Like I saw him earlier that week. I saw him the weekend before, and then you saw him that Wednesday.
Yeah.
I think he was at a New Japan show or something like that in Philly.
But like even like after it went off air, Ospreay and Omega had like kind of like a worked shoot, but it was like, damn, is that real? But like they were just throwing jabs at each other, and I'm like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, I actually almost went to AEW show here up in Wilkes-Barre, PA
Mhm.
last year, but then I was just like, no, I'm not going to waste the gas. So I just didn't bother there. So I'm gonna give a disclaimer. There's a statement I want to make. I may come across as sexist. I may come across as a bigot for saying this, but I'm asking Triple H. I'm asking everybody who's in charge of WWE right now, for the love of God, please stop putting women's wrestlers on TV who don't know how to freaking wrestle. Just because they're hot is fine, but they can't wrestle. And I know you don't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this past weekend, Saturday night's main event match between Chelsea Green and Zelina Vega.
Oh, the
But
619.
well, that wasn't the only botch. There was more than a few in that match, and I'm like, this just looks freaking terrible. I don't understand. You know, like what you can have a great match on Raw, but then on or SmackDown, but then on Saturday night's main event, you just completely botched the whole freaking thing. I
I'll
I've
play
always,
devil's advocate on that one.
Ooh.
I think it may have been a situation where before they went out, they probably got a "we're cutting your time" situation, and they were trying to get spots in, or because I don't know exactly when Chelsea's nose got busted. I don't know if it was on the second attempt at the kick or before, but if she had a busted nose, I would have probably slowed down too, and probably not wanted to kick you at full speed with the 619. I'd have to go back and double check, but if her nose was busted before then, I wouldn't have hit her full speed. I know you're supposed to, but I wouldn't have wanted to.
You know, what? I'm a big fan of like Chelsea Green. Like I think this character fits her. But I just want a little bit of Lucha Underground to come out of her. Like that I want her to bring I want them to what she did in Lucha and in the early part of TNA when she was Laurel Van Ness and then when she went back, like she was give me some of that. Like but I do like this character because it fits her, but what she did in Lucha with Penta and all that. I feel like she could do it in WWE.
I like Chelsea Green. I really do. I like the, like you said, the character. I like the even before she was the presidential type character thing and stuff. You know what she was the Karen, if you will, of WWE. I got a kick out of that and stuff. I really don't even blame her for this botch. I really think it was Zelina, and I'm not trying to just pick on Zelina, but damn, when you're in front of millions of people on a camera, you can't have this kind of crap. I don't know. It's just I'm starting to see, in my opinion, I'm starting to see a trend of more women's matches on the WWE roster that are botch fests now than are actually good. That are good. I just every week I see this or see that, and I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm jaded, and I pick this stuff out. I'm not just going with the flow. I'm not just enjoying the product, but some of them stand out, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, did they stop training the women? Like, do they not practice anymore? Do they not keep up in the gym, or what? Like, what the hell's going on here?
Need something like WCW Power Plant again.
You got the Performance Center, so you can't even say that. One of your head trainers is one of the female wrestlers in the world, in my opinion.
Sarah Stock.
Yeah, former Sarah Del Rey. So it's like,
Sarita.
no, Sarita botched. And then you got Shawn Michaels down there. He obviously knows what he's doing. Look at what he's doing with the NXT girls. You got Booker
Dude.
T. He knows what he's doing with females
Dude.
as far as training the wrestlers.
Dude.
So
That NXT, those NXT girls, like, we were saying this when Charlotte, Bailey, Sasha, and Becky all came up. We're like, oh man, who's next? Then it was Shayna Baszler and them. Oh, who's next? Asuka and them came up. Who's next? Like Roxanne Perez and them come up. Then you're like, man, like I feel like every like year or two we're like, man, when they come up, how are they? Man, they just keep shuffling.
there's always a new set of females coming through there. The females come through more frequently than the men.
I remember when they all left that time. Like you said, Becky Lynch and Charlotte and Sasha Banks and all that, Bailey, everybody else. I remember thinking to myself, yeah, pretty much the same thing. Oh shit, now what are you gonna do? They only have Asuka. That's it. But all of a sudden, hey, all of a sudden we got all these new women, and how many? Here's the question: how much is their luck gonna run out at some point? I mean, they keep getting the best women talents in wrestling to come in there, but eventually, are we going to reach a plateau where it's like, okay, now it's just going to be mid, where it's not going to be that next class isn't going to be as good as the previous ones.
Well, they don't have to be because Roxy's only 23, so you got plenty of time to get out of her. Zarya is only just turned 25. I believe Sol Ruka is about 26, 27. Jordan Grace just turned 28 not that long ago, if I'm not mistaken. So you're right in that pocket where you're going to get years out of these people, so you don't have to worry about that very next group until these ladies are almost ready to retire.
My issue as a fan, when you bring them up, like, will they get lost in the shuffle? Like Julia, like I'm like, dude, push her to the moon. Like I would love to see a program of Julia and Io Sky. Just because Io Sky's sister trained Julia. So I just want that type, like.
Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting. No, I had no idea of that.
Because since you mentioned her, I gotta do this.
Another thing that come out of Saturday night's main event was the big return of Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
And I kind of feel like maybe it was too early.
I don't feel like it was too early. I feel like it came in the wrong match. I'm sorry. Ron Cena should have won.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, that was a squash. That was a total freaking squash. I mean, he had no chance.
That hurt my heart.
I heard people say, well, that's how it had to be. Well, no, why did it have to be that way? Why couldn't he have given Cena a run for his money? And then, that's when, if Cena's going to, win, then okay, that's when he does the turn and kicks him in the balls or whatever, or hits him with the belts. It's a last desperate type of thing.
Yeah.
I don't mind Cody returning, but I felt like they thought like maybe it was getting a little stale, like they didn't have that star power. Because I think when you don't have Cody and Roman there, both there, it's like, what's going on? Like, I think now that you have Cody in the mix, you could have it, like. Because when one of them's gone, you have the other one to keep the balance. But when you don't have both of them, it's tough.
Yeah, I could see that definitely. And you know what? Roman might be gone for a lot longer because there's rumors he's in running to star in a Street Fighter live action movie.
Please do not cast him.
Come
This
on,
is not like Roman. Listen, I love you as a wrestler. I hope you do well in Hollywood. I just do not see you as Akuma. Just no. maybe you have the acting chops to make me look stupid, and I have to come back on here and apologize to you. As of right now, no. Again, no. Akuma's a martial artist. I've seen nothing you do that says martial arts.
So you're saying like Jason Momoa would be better?
No, I would probably cast him as Blanca.
You know, I was just thinking maybe Roman could be Blanca. That's what I was thinking. Just paint him a green, and there you go. You know, you're all good to go. Or CGI him, or whatever they're gonna do.
Or if it's just voice acting, sure, but no.
Hey, look at this. We have a late arrival, gentlemen, to the show.
I mean, we all know it's not going to top the original Street Fighter movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme. But
Oh, absolutely.
I had a problem with that one as well.
you had a problem with that one?
Who's Guile? What's Guile's?
I understand.
Yeah.
But listen, you make Johnny Cage specifically for him. He was supposed to play Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, when you read the trivia about that movie, or like how like he was so drunk and on drugs, and he slept with Cammy a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But listen, he's okay because they pasted a American flag tattoo on him. That's all you needed. You know, that made him. You know, that's all you needed.
Raul Julia, I think, made that movie. It's Bison.
Yeah. Because at first I was mad at him for being too small for Bison, but he played a good Bison. It was just I'm just sad that was his last role.
Hey Bison, you like to look at something, you sick son of a bitch. So look at this. I'm like, oh.
I actually went to see that in the theater. I paid mine.
My parents paid for me to go see it. I can't even say I paid for it because I was too
If
young
it's
to
on,
pay
I'll
for it.
watch it. I don't know.
Well, right now Moose looks like a disgruntled Hangman Page.
But I'm not. I'm super happy that Hangman won.
I'm not.
You look like if Hangman and Eric had a baby.
I'm okay with that.
I'm not happy, but I get it.
And then what's interesting is they actually both pushed for each other to win. Like backstage, they were both trying to politic to get the other one to go over.
Because where is All-In's in
Texas.
That makes more sense for Hangman to win.
But it doesn't
even though he's from West Virginia, but still.
Well, he's from Virginia, not West Virginia.
My bad.
Oh, yeah, another Street Fighter.
Yes.
Listen, let's not forget the fact that after hating him all freaking movie, at the end, all of a sudden, when Chun-Li's like, "Oh, look, he has biceps. Now I want to fuck that." Yeah, you know, all of a sudden, you know, that's She went from strong, independent newswoman to, oh, look, I'm in my little dress now, so everybody wants me. You know. If you haven't seen it, you have to see it at least once. You have to watch it.
I can't argue with that. You
Bisonopolis.
It's just, yeah. I
think if you were paid.
Dalsum was my favorite. Like, he doesn't
I was just gonna say
Dalsum to the freaking last 5 minutes of the movie, and then you see him for 30 seconds. He's like, "Oh, I'll take care of the monster," and they walk off. Okay. Oh my God. So Moose, how are you doing here tonight, sir?
Not bad. Just got home and thought I'd hop on.
Well, thank you. As always, we love to see you and appreciate your presence, especially in your mom's basement there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
In all its glory.
what were your thoughts on Cody Rhodes' return this past Saturday?
It felt underwhelming. I thought they would have made it more, but I get why they did it so that they could set up Money in the Bank. If reports are true, it's going to turn into a 6-man with Travis Scott and Jimmy Uso. which I don't hate the idea of the Usos back together.
Damn.
But I just question, was it the right time?
I feel bad for Cena. I have to carry that match on that side.
He's not Logan. Logan can hold his own. I
I
don't like
know.
him as a person, but he can carry his own.
Listen, I think we're all going to be looking to see if Cody gets his revenge shot, his receipt on Travis Scott. That's what I'll be looking for.
I want to see if Travis has actually been training like they've been saying he has. Is he going to be a Rodman or is he going to be a Bad Bunny?
Yeah, and then it's a question of who's been training him and what will he be able to actually do.
Oh, he's been trained by the Booker man. So,
Well, I'll say this: if Bad Bunny could become a capable wrestler, nothing against him. I'm not like trying to make, but that's shocked me. I guess really anybody can. If with the proper training.
you gotta want to do it. That's what it is. Like you can't just say, "Yeah, I trained," and then just come in and expect to do it.
You don't want to injure somebody.
Yes.
That would be.
Well, that's the difference with Logan Paul, I think, is that he wants it. You could tell he's he doesn't have to do this. The guy's a freaking however many millions he has, hundreds of millions of dollars. He could be sitting on a beach somewhere, but he wants to actually wrestle. So I'll always respect him for that, if nothing else.
Give him credit. Love him or hate him, man. I'll tell you this, man. Knows how to garner heat.
Absolutely. And another topic, Moose, we talked about. What do you think about the squash match of John Cena over Mr. Killings?
I mean, what else did you expect? Was it really going to be a 45-minute classic? Because if you make if you make R-Truth seem any more logical or a threat, then it's just like, well, is this really going to be the turning point for Cena? And I think that they needed to keep him in that he is who he is now type persona. Because had it been any more, you might have seen, or fans, I should say, might have interpreted it as him kind of turning back. But I thought it was what it was, and I didn't expect anything more. But it would have been cool to see Ron Killings do a little bit more.
I mean, that was a total. Did he even get any offensive moves in?
Yeah, he hit. He did the 5 moves of.
Oh, that's right. Wasn't that pretty much it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, that's. I mean, I know people would say he should get a world championship run before he retires. I'm like, at this point, wouldn't that kind of be anti R-Truth? Sort of to make him the top guy.
He would just have him accidentally win. You that's how you do it. Like, my bad, and then just give him back the championship.
Or at this point, with the acquisition of AAA, you could have him win some title there. Like put something on him.
The Money in the Bank briefcase.
Him with the Money in the Bank briefcase would be dangerously hilarious. Even though I already picked who I want to win, if it doesn't happen,
Because it'd be like him with the 24/7, like he would.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, imagine the vignettes of Cena at like a restaurant eating, and R-Truth is just in the background with the briefcase. Yeah, I'm just sitting there and stuff. Hey, John, hey, just saying hello. I could see shit like that. Oh, who is your pick, by the way, Mr. Jones?
Karrion Kross.
Ooh.
just because of the psychological factor of him saying TikTok and him having a briefcase, getting in your mind, messing with you, basically mind fucking you to the point it was like he could cash in at any time. Is he telling me he's going to do it right now? And then just back off. Plus, I think he just deserves the world right now. I've been a fan of him for the longest, and it's time. Like, I will go in the air and say this. When I met him, right when he came back to the WWE, I said, please take the belt off of Roman. And he said, I'll do my best. So now, I think he's going to give me my wish. He's not taking off of Roman, but he's going to become WWE champion.
Woo.
Interesting choice. Yeah, I'm. Listen, I liked Karrion Kross all the way from. I mean, the first time I saw him was in NXT. You know, I knew of Killer Kross, but I never actually seen him wrestle and stuff. And I loved that version of the character. And you know, it's hard to say, but you know, Vince, I feel, really dropped the ball with him when he brought him up to the main roster, big time. And you know. But even when he came back to a certain degree, he's just been in the background. You know, I mean, listen, I hope this works for him. I really do. This new, you know, thing that's going on with him and stuff, because he deserves it. But I don't know. I mean, part of me can't help but think that the main events is so filled right now that would they actually put Karrion Kross in there?
Drew's out the picture. So that's opening up a spot. You gotta look at it. Roman's basically a part-timer now. So there's just plenty of opportunities, and the World Heavyweight Championship is completely up in the air. Because actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm wrong. He won't be WWE Champion. He'll be World Heavyweight Champion. Because I honestly don't think because Gunther gets his rematch June 9th. Money in the Bank is June 7th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's not this coming Saturday, but the following Saturday. So yeah.
So whoever wins that match is getting cashed in on that night.
So you gotta fill in the participants quick.
Yeah, you got this week and next. You got I think qualifiers on SmackDown this week,
And then some more on Raw.
Yeah.
Wonder if they'll throw an NXT guy in there just for that.
No,
Joe Hendry.
I'm sure we've talked about that, but I think Joe Henry crosses over now. I think Battleground was his doing the right thing by TNA, the tip of the hat, just say, hey, yep, I'm a company guy now, and I'm ready to become a part of this. Because unless TNA offers him all of their money, he's dumb not to jump to NXT, and they're dumb not to bring him on.
They got 2 more spots to fill in the men's.
Oh, if Joe Hendry came out, that crowd would go freaking nuts.
They would.
That would be me.
Probably
Well, we'll
Karrion
see.
Kross and probably Jacob Fatu.
Ooh. No
Oh
Punk.
yeah. You definitely got to put Fatu in that mix, just to kind of give us that opportunity to see him in solo lock it up.
Mm-hmm.
I think if it happens, there will be a hesitation in shakeup because of the past. But I also think that we may see that breakout moment for him to where he leaves the shadow. He steps in front of everything and shows that he can be more than just, I love you, Solo.
Listen, Jacob Fatu, I think, is the next big thing in wrestling. I mean, he's just It's like an organic thing, like came across with him. It wasn't forced. It's just the fans just jumped on his bandwagon and loved what they were seeing, the reckless nature, the crazy character. And I just question how do you get him? I mean, I shouldn't say that they'll definitely make him a face, but I feel like they would make him a face just because of the crowd.
He can walk. He can walk that line.
Oh yeah, he's very capable of being a tweener, of just
Ugly
saying,
action.
"Hey,
I'm thinking, how do you change that character?
You don't.
Don't have to.
You don't. You let him, and that's what's happening. They're letting him be Jacob Fatu under the umbrella of WWE.
Yeah. He's slightly censored, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I just want a WrestleMania match with him and Braun Breaker. Like that would just be.
Oh, holy shit! Yeah,
Truly, the irresistible force meets the immovable object.
I want them, like, they kind of teased it a little bit in this past year's Rumble. I want them to do like a Hogan Warrior thing where they throw out everybody, have a face to face. But I think you may add Punk to the Money in the Bank. I'm guessing with Rollins in there. But
they I know a lot of people are upset because the rumors were it was going to be CM Punk versus Cena for the title at Money in the Bank, and now we got that tag match. I'm like, but you know what? I'd love to see. A lot of people want Cody versus Cena at SummerSlam. I'm thinking maybe Punk versus Cena at SummerSlam.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do it 2 nights, and it would make sense to save it for something like that.
Yeah, because
Not that Money in the Bank isn't big, i.e., them pumping Money in the Bank 2026 for New Orleans, which is kind of weird, but it would. I think it would mean more if it was Punk Cena at SummerSlam, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like Cody should be jumped right back in the mix, the title immediately.
No, he needs to finish his business with Cena and Travis Scott, and then needs to find a way to be refocused on getting his title back after that. Like obviously Cena's holding the title, but he needs to finish that before he can go back down that path.
I'd love to see Cody versus Rock at SummerSlam, but that's not going to happen, I'm sure.
I think Rock's done, personally. I think when he was on Ariel Helwani or whatever it was, and he basically said that the final boss thing has run its course. That slit they cut their face. They cut their nose to spite their face on that, because that could have gone on for a long time, and it still very well could. I mean, it still very well could. He could come back. He could find a way in, and even if it's him and Roman doing something, but it would need to be more than a one-off, and it would need to start building now. Like you can't wait until you're 6 weeks out, or you can realistically, but if you're going to build to something like that, Cody Rock, it needs time to breathe. It needs time to unfold, and things need to come back to light if it's going to actually be impactful.
Agreed. Yeah. That
Don't get like why, like, you had Cody and The Rock building. Cena turns heel, and then it just poof. Like, feel like you need to have Rock and Cody, but it's like how do you just end that? Like, just like it never happened.
Remember, the story was that's not what each side wanted.
Yeah.
The Rock wanted Cody to turn heel. Triple H said no. I'll give you Cena. that story died then and there because when The Rock said this, it killed kayfabe. I need them to stop pulling back the curtain on certain things. Like, I'm not really looking forward to this Netflix show where they're pulling back the curtain on everything. When you got Triple H telling Jey Uso, I'm about to strap a rocket to you during Royal Rumble. Like, no. I don't need to see this. We already see too much behind the scenes stuff now. Pull back the curtain. Leave the mystery to us. Let us try to say, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. Now it's just like, oh.
I think, and I totally agree, but I think the thing with Unreal is it's all stuff that's already happened. It's all stuff that we've had that moment with, and now we get to see how it came to be. As long as they don't foreshadow and they don't shine light on what is yet to be, then I think we're fine. Because
I hope you're right.
well, if you look at it, fine, go back, show us how you got to WrestleMania, show us that process. I would love to know that process. But at the end of the day, as long as you're not going to take the aha out of it, or you're going to take the away from us, they're fine to do shows like this and show that other side. Like, I don't know if you guys have watched any of Stephanie's new show, Stephanie's Places, but that's good TV. Like that's really interesting to kind of pull that curtain or that fourth wall back and get a different look at things.
And they have that show on Netflix coming.
That's what we're talking about, Unreal.
Because they showed that on the fans took screenshots. On that board, they showed what the WrestleMania card was supposed to be. And seeing that and seeing what we got was very upsetting.
What was it supposed to be?
Roman's Punk and Seth for a championship, if not mistaken. It may have been Drew. It was like, but it was supposed to be a championship match, not just a bragging rights match. You were supposed to get Jade versus Nia Jax for the championship. When she got hurt, that's when Tiffy's time happened. So
Joe loves that.
I love me some Tiffy
a
time.
lot of the matches were the same, but it's like there was some differences in there. It was like, don't show me what could have been, just show me what was. Because that's where now I'm just like, why didn't we get that?
Yeah, but we do that like with like every past WrestleMania, like WrestleMania 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know, like that's...
But it's all speculation. This is actually seeing what it was supposed to be. So
that's what. Well, I mean, even back then, you know, you hear from people this is what it was supposed to be.
But at that point, it's just word of mouth. So this time, we were physically seeing they had a camera in there on the board. That's what's driving me crazy. It's like physically, like, why are you in here? This should be a closed door, nobody in here situation.
I'm telling you, I saw a board for WrestleMania 7 where it said Hogan versus Sheik Tugboat Jones.
Oh, that was the original. Yeah, that was the original plan. Remember? Yeah. I remember hearing about that.
I remember that. That's almost as sheesh.
This actually came from Vince McMahon's mind. Yeah, tugboat turning Iraq and winning the world championship. But then again, also the idea of beaver cleavage came from Vince McMahon's mind, or at least Vince Russo's, and Vince signed off on it. I don't know which one, but
that sounds very Vince Russo-ish.
It does.
But then again, considering what Vince has done, it may have very well been his idea.
Yes, and Vince's obsession to this day of wanting an incest angle at some point in wrestling until the time he left. So, yeah. So I got some news today that I didn't expect to hear or see. I'd never heard before. So Mick Foley was going to come back for one last retirement match. Yeah. And it would have been in AEW because he wanted MJF.
Wow.
No joke. No joke. He apparently said this because it's not going to happen. He said it's so unlikely to happen. He was talking about on a podcast this past week, and he said, yeah, he had a meeting with MJF to discuss this retirement match of his, and he said MJF came up actually with a 6-week storyline that would have built to the match, but then it I guess somewhere along the way it fell apart. But he still wants to apparently have one because he's also mentioned Karrion Kross. And, potentially has some other people in mind for his retirement match. Now, am I not wrong? Did he not retire like 15 years ago or something, or 10 years ago, like for good or something?
Yeah, I can't see MJF. I can understand. Karrion Kross, I don't.
Well, I think I think he wants to give Karrion that opportunity to have that one hardcore match because Karrion had pushed for before Mania some sort of extreme title and had talked about hardcore wrestling and things like that. So I could see where Karrion and Mick could do something, but I don't think Mick's in any physical shape to do anything.
Here's the quote. It was on Casual Conversations with the Classic podcast. Where he said, he says, here's the quote. I had a top secret meeting with MJF about the possibility of having one last match with him. And he laid out like 6 really solid weeks of storytelling. Foley said he praises MJF's creative vision, calling his ideas good and noting they could have had a really good program. Foley admitted the match doesn't currently look likely to happen. He also mentioned significant interest from other wrestlers for his potential final match. You already had your freaking final match. From deathmatch guys to MJF to Karrion Kross in WWE. That was his quote. I'm like, I thought, I remember when you retired in 2000. You're gonna wrestle.
Wasn't he supposed to do something with Moxley as Ambrose in WWE? I know way back then they were talking about
they
that.
started an angle at like a signing where he just went after him, and then it just never went anywhere.
I mean, isn't Foley in the process of taking DDP yoga because he was in such bad shape?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's akin to Hogan saying, "I'm going to wrestle one last match again too," when he can barely walk.
And Hogan actually just had neck surgery and apparently has feeling in his hands again for the first time in like 10 years.
Oh God, that means Hulkamania's coming back. Here we go. WrestleMania 42. One last time. Just a matter of who will wrestle. Oh boy.
Put him in there with Braun Breaker. Let Braun beat him in 5 seconds.
Oh, he would never wrestle again after wrestling Braun. That's for sure. No, that would be he'd go right back to the hospital.
One super spear and the Hulkamania is dead forever.
Why do you want to do that?
I don't know what else you have to prove. You're Mick Foley, you're Hulk Hogan. You're what? Enjoy yourself.
There's nothing left for you.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, you're more likely to make yourself look bad and have people's last memory be a garbage one,
Exactly.
have a terrible match. So one last thing before we get out of here for tonight. Over under on our missing host Carmine Sabia buying the Money in the Bank commemorative belt that they're going to sell.
He's a big kid. He's definitely buying it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, easily.
He absolutely claims he absolutely will not buy it under any circumstances. I don't know.
He's going to see the mini belt and say, "Well, I'm going to get the mini belt. And he said, well, I had to get the big one too because it matched it. So,
The reason I brought it up because Sleeping Beauty
wow.
decided to grace us with a comment. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Okay.
Sure, you're still going to get it. Even if
Nobody
you give it away, you're still going to get it.
Nobody
Easily.
believes. You'll say, "Look at the strap. I like those colors. They look good."
Mhm.
And that'll be the end of it. So, gentlemen, about 9:15. I think ready to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
As always, want to thank you all for watching us, and I want to thank my co-hosts for being here. And it was a good talk. Nice, a good, solid hour of wrestling talk. Love it.
Yes.
So we will see you again next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. And until then, all of you just be nice to each other. Fuck the hobby. And yes. And we will see you again next week.